Namaskar friends, welcome to the fourth video of Standard 11 Chapter 3, that is Plant Kingdom, and in this part we are going to study about pteridophytes. In the previous one we have already discussed about algae and bryophytes, and in this one we are going to study in detail about pteridophytes according to our textbook. So, welcome. Welcome to Vigyan with Vishal Mulia. Welcome to Biology with Vishal Mulia. Welcome. These pteridophytes are including the plants like horsetail fern and other many type of ferns. Let me see the photograph. This is the horsetail fern, which is scientifically known as Equisetum, and because it is having shape like horsetail, so it is known as horsetail fern. Another one which is very common, that is commonly grown in our area, and that is Nephrolepis. It is commonly grown in the garden also as the ornamental plant. And fern is having many types, but to be precise here, the shown one is Nephrolepis. Pteridophytes are useful for medicinal purpose at some level, and it is very good soil binder. So ecologically it is very important one. Many of them are frequently grown as ornamental. As we discussed earlier, here you can see Nephrolepis or a fern as the ornamental one. Evolutionary, it is the first terrestrial plant which is having vascular tissue. That is very important one. They are having xylem and phloem for the first time in the evolutionary history. Previous one like the bryophytes, alga were not having xylem and phloem, but here in the pteridophytes one can see xylem and phloem. We are going to study about that xylem and phloem in detail in the 6th chapter, but here let me focus again back on the pteridophytes. These pteridophytes are found in cool, damp and shady places. Some of the pteridophytes can flourish well in the sandy soil also, but generally they are found in the previous condition, that is moist and shady condition. In bryophyte, this is very important one. In bryophyte, the dominant phase of the life cycle is gametophytic plant. We have seen earlier in the video also, but still let me go through detail. In bryophytes, dominant phase is gametophytic one, while in pteridophyte, the dominant one or the main plant body is sporophytic. Let me go through the photograph. Here you can see the photograph. The dominant phase, which we can see with the naked eye, which is long lasting, is gametophyte producing gametes in case of bryophytes. While in case of pteridophytes, the main plant body is sporophytic. One can see here plant is showing presence of spore. So here this is the difference, or you can say kind of evolution from bryophyte to pteridophyte, the dominance of the gametophytic generation to the dominance of sporophytic condition. These sporophytes are having, or it is differentiating in the true root, true stem and true leaves. If you see the earlier part, that is the bryophyte, the bryophytes were having root like structure, stem like structure, leaves like structure, but here it is not like, but here it is in true sense, or true root, true stem and true leaves. And it is again well differentiated in the vascular tissue. They have the vascular system which is well differentiated, so it is quite advancement. Leaves in generally pteridophytes are smaller, the microphyles. In the case of Selaginella, you can see here very small leaves are there, that is there in the Selaginella, or it can have large leaves, and that large leaves are called macrophyls, and that is found in various kind of ferns. So both kind of leaves are there, smaller one that is microphyll and larger one that is macrophyll. Both can be seen here. These sporophyte are having sporangia, and sporangia is having leaf-like structure which is known as sporophyll, which is producing spore. This entire sentence can be simplified in this way. Sporophyte is having sporophyll, sporophyll is having sporangium, and the sporangium is producing spores. In some of the cases, the sporophyll may have distinct compact structure called strobili or cone. We can see it here. The sporophyte is having cone, little bit changes there. Now sporophyte is having cone, cone is having sporophylls, sporophylls are having sporangium. Each sporophyll is having sporangium, and sporangium is producing spores. Let me take the example of Lycopodium. Here you can see Lycopodium sporophyte. This sporophyte will give rise to the cone at the maturity. You can see here at the top there is a cone. To study the detail, we can have the longitudinal section of cone. Here you can see the LS, longitudinal section of cone, and in this cone you can see sporophyll when you enlarge it. In this sporophyll you can see sporangium also, and this sporangium is containing spores. This is how the structure is made of sporophytic structure or sporophytic plant. This strobili or cone you can see here in the Selaginella in the photograph, as well as it is there in the Equisetum also. Here in Equisetum you can see as well. The sporangia is producing spores by reductional division, that is meiosis of spore mother cell, and this sporangia on germination giving rise to gametophyte, and that gametophyte is known as prothallus. This prothallus is inconspicuous, it is very small, it is inconspicuous, we cannot see it with naked eye, it is too small, it is in millimeter, and though it is very small but it is multicellular. Here you can see the multicellularity. It is free living, it is not dependent on sporophyte, mostly photosynthetic one, and it is thalloid in structure. This gametophyte require cool, damp and shady place to grow, and because of this specific requirement of cool, damp and shady place, as well as the need of the water for the fertilization, the spread of this living pteridophytes is limited. The spread of pteridophyte is restricted to very narrow geographical region. Anyway, coming back to the gametophyte, gametophyte is having male and female sex organ, and this male and female sex organs are known as antheridia and archegonia respectively. Water is required for the transfer of antherozoid, that is male gamete, from the antheridia to the mouth of archegonium, and water is requiring, so it is having limited distribution in the world. The fusion of male gamete with the egg which is present in the archegonium is resulting in the zygote, which is very common in the reproduction, and this zygote is producing multicellular, well differentiated sporophyte. Here you can see lower side is gametophyte and the multicellular sporophyte is produced on the upper side. This sporophyte is later on developing well and becoming dominant phase of the pteridophyte, which is having root, stem and leaves. Here you can see it in a photographic form. The majority of pteridophytes are having spores which is almost similar, which is similar kind, and when it is similar kind we are calling it homosporous plant. But there are certain genera like Selaginella and Salvinia which is producing two different kind of spores. Here it is something new. Earlier we were knowing that male gametes and female gametes, two kind of gametes are there, but here you can see two kind of spores are there. In the case of Selaginella and Salvinia, let me go through in detail. When these two kind of spore, one is macro, large one, and another one is micro, which is smaller one. Two kind of spores are there. So certain pteridophytes which is having two kind of spores are known as heterosporous one. And this heterospory can be seen in Selaginella. We can see here large one, that is megaspore, and small one, that is microspore. It is different one. It is found in different sporangium also. And likewise in the Selaginella as well as it is there in the Salvinia also. This megaspore and microspore on germination is giving rise to two different gametophyte, that is female gametophyte and male gametophyte respectively. Means megaspore is producing female gametophyte and microspores are producing male gametophytes. This female gametophyte will remain there or retain on the parent sporophyte for the variable period, for the long period, and the development of zygote into the young embryo is also taking place within the female gametophyte, which is present on the sporophyte. This is the event which is precursor of the seed habit of the higher plants, and that is very important step in the evolution. That is the development of heterospory to the seed habitat. We will see it in detail when we will discuss about the NEET level video. Here we proceed further according to our textbook. Pteridophytes are further classified into 4 classes, that is Psilopsida, Lycopsida, Sphenopsida and Pteropsida. Here P is silent, so we are calling it Pteropsida. Let me go through the example. Psilopsida is exemplified with Psilotum. In case of Lycopsida, we can see Selaginella and Lycopodium. In case of Sphenopsida, we can see Equisetum. And in Pteridopsida, we can see Dryopteris, Pteris and Ediantum. Let me go through photograph of each one. Psilotum from Psilopsida. Next is Selaginella from Lycopsida. Another member of Lycopsida is Lycopodium. Equisetum is from Sphenopsida. And 3 members from the Pteridopsida, and that is from the Pteropsida, and that is Dryopteris. Another one is Pteris and the Ediantum one. So with this, we are finishing study about the pteridophytes according to our NCERT textbook, and in the next one we are going to study about gymnosperm. Till that, thank you very much. Dhanyavad. Jai Hind. Jai Bharat.